James Lynch here for MMA News, and happy to be joined by the former middleweight champion Robert Whittaker, who's going to be taking on Jared Cannonier at UFC 254 on October 24th. Rob, how are you, man?
Yeah, very well, very well. Thanks for having me.
Hey, of course, it's great to chat with you. When did you find out about this fight? That's what I wanted to know, because I mean, we're not even like a week or two removed from your last fight, and you already got your next fight booked.
Yeah, I was lucky and fortunate enough to get out of that last fight with no injuries or anything of the sort, and I wanted to get another fight in the end of the year. So let's just jump back in it. I'm enjoying it so much. I'm having a lot of fun. I guess me and Jared have both said yes to the fights. There's been no signing or contracts just yet, but yeah, it looks like this fight's about to happen.
Yeah, it just makes a lot of sense. I know you guys were supposed to fight earlier this year, but you referenced the win there over Darren Till. Really great performance, very technical. You've had a lot of really good wins in your career. You've had a lot of, hard fights like against Yoel Romero. Where did this win rank just in terms of you came off the loss? And I know there was a lot going into this fight in terms of who you were fighting and everything else. Where did this sort of win rank in your career, in your opinion?
I think every win is the next highest one,
okay.
And it's exactly as you said. Like this fight, there was a lot of pressure coming off the loss, and such a big loss, and such a drastic change, and then to come back into the fight game, and with everything that's going on in the world, and to jump back in there and get the result you wanted, it meant a lot to me.
Was there anything else in that fight that surprised you about Darren that maybe you weren't anticipating going in?
Honestly, I thought he'd be a little bit more aggressive. I was expecting him to walk me down a little bit and try to bully me, if you would, because he's that sort of fighter. He likes to bully his opponent. He likes to walk him down and get him cornered. But he had a great game plan for me. It showed its effectiveness in the first round, and he's experienced and good enough to employ that game plan over the 5 rounds.
After that win, I know the Cannonier fight isn't 100% signed, but there wasn't any talk of you fighting the winner of Paulo Costa and Israel Adesanya coming up, just because you were the champion and you had a couple title defenses. It seemed like that might have been an option for you.
I would have jumped at the opportunity, but honestly, I'm not the sort of fighter that goes around and just tries to pick his fights, and I'll just fight everyone. Me and Jared were supposed to fight earlier this year. It didn't happen, and then he got injured, so. That's been cooking for a little while.
It certainly has. And I think sort of the mentality as well is like, you're going to have to fight these guys anyways, right? So it doesn't matter if you fight Jared now, if you're the champ or not, right? Like you probably would have had to fight him anyhow.
Exactly that. He's lurking around. So he's in my ponds, and it's bound to happen.
How do you look at the matchup from a style perspective? We know he's got some knockout power. We saw that in the last fight over Jack Hermansson. How do you feel like you match up against him?
I think I match up pretty well. I think stylistically on paper, I'm just better across the board. I think he hits very hard. He's very tough. He's very relentless. He just goes forward and he breaks you down with willpower and power. But I think I'm slick enough to be moving on the outside, to pepper him away, to hurt him when I see those holes, as well as I can take it to the ground if I want to.
How much do you factor in, and you know this of all people, how much do you factor in his layoff coming into this fight, because he had the injury? You guys were supposed to fight earlier this year, at least that was sort of the rumor. And now by the time he steps in the cage, it's going to be like a year since he last fought. Do you think that'll play a role in the fight?
Maybe. I've come off year layoffs and had good wins. It's hard to say how it affects the different fighters. I do know that with the layoff due to the injury, and then with the world as crazy as it is, nothing's optimized for anybody. Everyone's kind of in the same boat. Everyone's just doing the best they can. And Jared's a fighter. He's ranked in the top 10 for a good reason. He's in the top 5 for a good reason. When it comes in, when we both step across from each other in the octagon, it is on. I know he's going to be there for war, and I'm going to take it to him.
How are you going to be structuring your training camp? We got lots of time, before October. So have you sort of mapped out how you're going to do things? Any cross training, or is it just going to be business as usual at camp?
Business as usual. I had such fun last preparation. I felt like we really got things moving really well. All the session layouts and recovery times and everything. I don't know. Everything was just really, really, really fun. So I'm thinking we're going to stick with it. Obviously, the coaches have a big impact on manipulating the training to accommodate the next opponent. So I have to sit down with them, and they'll obviously tell me what they want to do. But at the end of the day, you're just going to train your butt off, get in that octagon and punch on.
Now, in terms of your camp, one of the things I like is that I saw on Instagram after, you won your fight was that you gave a shout out to your teammates. And these aren't household names, at least for, people in North America. There's a lot of talk about fighters, training at big gyms. Do you sort of think that's a bit overrated to a certain degree where, you can, as long as you have the right structure in a camp, you can still have a good training camp. Whereas, a lot of people sort of feel like you got to train at an American Top Team or a Jackson Wink and things like that.
I certainly stand by like my decision to train in Australia and with my friends, family, and everyone. I think what you said is like it can be overrated because they have mainstreamed the big MMA gyms and striking gyms and grappling gyms. Like they have mainstreamed those and opened those doors to a lot of I don't know everybody else,
right,
yeah. But I guess the most important thing of what you said is that second part is about getting your team together, having that consistent, sustainable training environment with all the guys. Because we're all, although they're not household names yet, we're all guys aspiring to be, fighters for a career. And in that in and of itself is able to sustain itself and grow and cultivate itself as long as you look after each other.
And the weight cut, when does that process start for you? Because I know you used to fight at welterweight. I don't imagine you cut a ton of weight to get to 185.
Honestly, I cut just about as much as anybody else. I think it's these thick bones, man.
Well, and it's age too, right? Our metabolism slows down as we get older, right? So.
And one of those things as well. It's like, oh, upper weight class, no worries, I'll eat more.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So it's never of a like I just walk in and I'm on weight. It's got to put in the work, especially if you want to like do things properly, right? But the weight cut's not hard, especially coming off the back of the last fight. What is it? A week and a bit ago. I'll be back in the gym before I can get too fat, which for me is the biggest thing about weight cutting.
What's your vice when it comes to food? Like I know we have our food here in North America, but in Australia, is there something you really like eating that's definitely adding on the pounds?
Mate, everything. I'm a glutton. Honestly, I'm a pig.
Okay.
I just eat. Even when I'm not hungry, I'm eating. Because I think I just like snacking. I'm a big lay down on the couch, read a book, and just have chip packets and crisp packets and cookies and I don't know. I like everything.
Okay, that's good. What's your early prediction for this fight? If you and Cannonier do end up fighting on October 24th, how do you see the fight unfolding?
I think I'll put him away late in the second. I think I'm going to be too much. I think I'm going to pepper him and just sting him. I'm just going to sting him for a round. I'm going to sting him for half a round, and it's just going to be too much.
Why do you think he hasn't been finished at middleweight? That's one interesting thing. I mean, this is a guy that used to fight at heavyweight, and we saw him get knocked out in the heavier weight classes. If anything, you'd think he'd get finished, cutting more weight going down to middleweight. Do you think it's the opponent, or do you think he's figured things out in terms of striking defense and things like that?
I think it's a combination of everything. For one, let me tell you, like the higher weight you go up, the harder.
Get hit harder. That is true too. Yes, no, that's true.
So that's crazy for one, and two, like I'm sure he's finally just coming into his own. Like he's found that sweet spot of the weight mixed with the power, mixed with the speed, and he can utilize it all.
Big fight, like I mentioned here on October 24th. If you end up getting the win here, do you feel like a title shot is next? I would think, with the implications of Cannonier's winning streak and obviously you beating Till and potentially beating Cannonier here, do you feel like that's on the horizon?
Probably, but to be honest, I'm not even thinking about it. I'm just enjoying the game. I'm enjoying the fights. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to do my best to smash Cannonier, and then whatever comes after it, oh well. The only thing I really, really want that I want to guarantee is that after I beat Cannonier, I just want to rest and enjoy Christmas.
Yes. No, I bet. And kind of on that note, like, is the mentality different now not being the champ? In some ways, it's a little bit better, not as much pressure. Do you feel like things are a bit different now?
I do feel like things are a little bit different, but I can't be sure if it has something to do with not being the champ or if it has more to do with the fact that I after post last fight, I changed things up in my personal life and my approach into training and whatnot.
Okay. Yeah, and for those who didn't see that, what were some of the things that you felt like you kind of changed that have worked for you? You don't have to go too much into detail, but just lifestyle things. And if anyone's listening and they can take away from something, it's like just lifestyle things because the fight is only 15 to 25 minutes. Training every single day, that's life. That's day in, day out. So you have to enjoy it. You have to enjoy every single day. And just reaching that point
or trying to get back to that point where I was enjoying every day, where I was struggling to go to sleep because I'm excited now for the next day. You know what I mean? Like just bringing that back, and it's just little things. So like creating routines in the morning where you have your coffee, you sit with your kids, you play with your kids, and like it's all written out. Then you go to training and you enjoy the car trip there. It's just little things, but a lot of little things make up, a huge picture.
Do you meditate in the morning? I know that's something even I started doing like this year, and it really helps.
I tried meditating and I struggled with it, so I moved to that what's it called? It's that therapy. It's like so similar to meditate where you do like a monotonous, repetitive task.
Oh, okay.
Over and over, and it kind of puts you in a trance.
Okay, interesting.
So what I picked up was like just in like that sort of thing was like the guitar or the piano or knife sharpening. Terrible at all three, by the way.
Well, I like the honesty on that. I imagine no interest in fighting at 205. The only reason I ask is because obviously Israel Adesanya has been talking about fighting John Jones, and you used to fight at welterweight. Is there any interest if you were to go up and fight there in the future? I know obviously the title would be the focus right now at 185.
Maybe we'll have to see. Like we'll see how I age and how like my middleweight, how the cuts go and how I feel at middleweight. If it reaches a point where I'm just sick of cutting weight, then yeah, I'll 100% move up. But right now, I'm pretty comfortable and happy with how everything's flowing.
And you like how the division's going. I mean, it seems like this is one of the hottest divisions right now with yourself, and Jack Hermanson picked up a nice win a few weeks ago, or actually on your card as well. Do you feel like the middleweight division is kind of at a really interesting point now? Yeah,
it's crazy. There's so much movement going on in the division. There's new names getting thrown in, old names getting thrown out, and vice versa of the top 10. It is just, it's alive. It's a moving beast. It's crazy. And, I guess it keeps everybody's on their toes because you aren't seeing the same names up there, because when I was going through the thing, it was the same names up there the whole time. So everyone started preparing for each other and was ready for each other. Whereas now everyone there's just new guys always biting at your heels.
Two more quick questions and we'll wrap things up here. Do you ever wish you got to fight Gegard Mousasi? I always ask that because I've interviewed him a handful of times, and that's one of his regrets when he was in the UFC is that you guys never got to fight it. Was that a fight that ever interested you?
Oh, every fight interests me, whether it was him or anybody else. Like, I don't have any. I certainly don't. I'm not the sort of guy that has regrets of not fighting people. It's a fight's kind of hard.
Yes. Yeah. No. I imagine. Yeah. No, I was just curious because obviously he's doing some great things over in Bellator. And my last question: what does downtime look like for you? I know you're a family guy. You spend time with the kids, but you got any TV shows on the go right now? Any video games you're playing? Anything like that? Just
video games. I play a ton of like Elder Scrolls Online. Okay. Run around with my guild mates. I try to learn how to play the guitar. That's about it. Video games.
Who's the best video game player that you know right now, like aside from yourself?
Yeah, me, for sure.
So you're better than everyone? Okay.
I think so. I would have to be, right?
Of course, yeah. I mean, why even bring it up, right? That makes sense. Rob, I want to thank you so much for the time today. I really appreciate it. Anyone you want to thank, any sponsors, any social media you want to plug, the floor is yours, sir.
I just want to say a big shout out to all my fans and support that I've gotten over the years, ups and downs, obviously. And just thanks for hanging in there, guys. And the show, honestly, is still just starting. Only 29, a long time to come.